Genshin Impact in 2024, releasing at the absolute perfect moment when everybody started to get lonely at home due to the world's unfortunate circumstances. On September 28, 2020, Genshin Impact took the world by storm. It has been one of the top grossing mobile games since its release. Of course, that doesn't mean it's only a mobile game. It's actually on every platform. And has received many, and I mean many updates ever since. From brand new nations to explore, to tons of new characters, to even a brand new element. And yet, in many ways, it's still the same game it was since day one. As someone who has played far too much, I have a lot to say about the game, in both good ways and bad. And you can also rest assured that there will be no spoilers in this video. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's start by addressing the elephant in the room, the gacha system. Just think of it as a predatory loot box system, which allows you to obtain characters and weapons. It's still terrible. There are both weapon banners and character banners. Character banners have a 0.6% chance of giving you a 5-star character per wish. And if you're really unlucky, you'll get a 5-star character guaranteed at 90 wishes. Which is quite a high bar to hit, considering the abysmal rates. Same thing can be said for the weapon banner. The rates are a little higher and the pity is a little lower, but it had this predatory system of never actually having a guaranteed weapon. Yeah, that actually got changed, luckily. Though technically it's actually the same. Let me explain. So as you may already know, there are 2 weapons on each weapon banner. You have a 25% chance to get a standard banner weapon, which are in general just a lot worse. However, because you can't actually select the weapon individually, which makes it so that you have a 50% chance of getting one or the other, theoretically you could spend $1 million and still not get the other weapon, with no pity system among the actual weapons. Thankfully, this actually got changed. Why, you may ask? Well, obviously because of MiHoYo's generosity, of course. No, it's most likely due to the suffering of many different people. Though supposedly there's this one Genshin guy who insists that he incited the change.
Right? Pretty good? One spear? Are you kidding me? I swear to God, you have to be kidding me! My ass, dude! And we're going to bring it home, right?
It was quite the historical event, as he didn't get a single Staff of Oma after spending $1,000 on the game. And that right there is why you don't spend money on gacha games. Get it? Because it's called gacha, meaning they got you, no? Eh? And they decided to fix this by implementing a system called Epitomized Path. More like Victimized Path. With this new system, you have to get 2 5-stars. Whether they are the weapon you want, doesn't matter. On the 3rd, you'll actually get the 5-star. Back in my day, our weapon banners were bullshit. Also, make sure that you've actually charted your course, because you don't want to end up like the very guy they supposedly made the system for.
4, 5. Wait, what? It was checked, and that doesn't mean charted? No. That's so tragic. Bro, I just wasted like $600.
Pretty ironic, huh? So cool, the weapon banner is still not worth it. Especially if you're free to play. Not saying this is not a welcome change, yet there's one minor problem. And that is that the epitomized path doesn't carry over into the next banner, which means that if you have a 5-star ready to go or halfway ready to go, it will just get deleted. It's stealing in plain sight. Bunch of scammers. Their other game, Honkai Star Rail, gets a weapon banner that doesn't make us deal with any of this shit. Now to talk about the main event, the reason people fell in love with the game.
I'm here, reaching far across these new frontiers. With my life, I fight this fear. In my hands, I hold the ones I love. Walk forward through the countdown. Always to new horizons.
Since launch, this map has gone absolutely enormous. We went from 2 nations to a whopping 5. Not to mention the side areas like Dragonspine, Enkonomiya and the Chasm. And exploring all of this would take you a while. We're talking about hundreds of hours. And the crazy part is that it's all free. This is its main selling point. It's a single player game, which has hours upon hours of just exploration. I mean, it's obviously no Red Dead Redemption 2, but this in of itself really is quite impressive. And every year a new nation gets added, because supposedly there are 7 nations in the world of Tibet, each one representing a certain element. However, there's one thing that makes Genshin's open world stand out from the others, and that is the art style. The cel-shaded art style that makes everything look so good. You can play the game just to walk around and take in the view. Additionally, Fontaine's new edition of swimming gave exploration a much needed breath of fresh air. I mean, it's quite a risky move when you consider the fact that whatever character you use doesn't even remotely matter, because you can't use your own abilities underwater, which means no Windblade! Making you have less incentives to pull a character, and despite it being quite a hated mechanic in other video games, they took the risk and it paid off. They didn't play it safe this time. So I can see why some people would be burnt out by the fact that they can't use their character abilities underwater. But once again, you can't deny how good it looks. Oh, and Fontaine also has the best music in the entire game. I mean, who wouldn't want to listen to this fire? Or should I say water? Yeah, so the open world is fantastic and all. However, it does have one problem that I don't see a lot of people mention. And it has to do with what you do in said open world. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's an empty open world like some of those soulless Ubisoft games, but let me explain. In the open world, you're mainly searching for chests or challenges or puzzles to complete. Each will reward you with a chest. And in these chests you will find character upgrade materials, artifacts, mora, and last but certainly not least, Primo Gems, a wishing currency. Oh, and the occasional weapon as well. However, over time I've noticed a problem with these chests. You always know that you're gonna get this amount of Primo Gems from specific chests. And you also know that the artifacts and weapons that you will get, unless you have like literally nothing, are pretty much always gonna end up like trash. Or rather just salvaged as artifact experience. Honestly, I'm tired of finding chests of which I already know the contents of. Before long, the contents become useless. Besides the Primo Gems, of course, those are always valuable. There's no mystery. What they could have done is give you random 5-star artifacts after exceeding a certain level, for example. This would have added that needed flavor, that mystery, the trait that a chest needs in other games. Like this Genshin clone, for example. You never know what you're gonna get. But in Genshin, you'll get the same as day one. And as far as I know, the most enjoyable part of getting to a chest should be opening it up and seeing what's inside, no? and especially since you know how many primo gems a specific chest gives. Opening chests just feels like grinding wishes for a character now, which it definitely is after a certain point. The process of finding the chest is way more enjoyable than actually opening it and collecting what's inside. It just makes exploration feel repetitive. And I'm not here to say that others should feel the same way. Obviously, a new player isn't gonna worry about this, and I'm sure a lot of veteran players don't mind either. For those like me, however, the novelty and excitement does fade away after realizing you're not actually getting anything from these chests, any longer at least. That, coupled with identical enemy camps and challenges, just makes for an overall repetitive experience. That's just my opinion though. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Now to move on to the worst part of the game. Artifacts are basically the equivalent of armor in other games. The difference being that Satan himself was hired in the making of them. Long story short, they're pretty much designed to waste as much of your time as possible. Everything is random. I mean that. Every single stat. In fact, it's so rigged that you have a much higher chance of getting worse stats. Thanks to these three absolutely useless stats, you could simply ignore them, but you'd literally be Raiden punching Armstrong. I mean the actual Raiden, by the way, the cool one, not some ripoff. I'll even link a glorious comparison below. I might have just ended my YouTube career before it even started. Well, anyways, if you got tired of grinding all those artifacts, you'll be sad to hear that they didn't change jack about them. 99% of your artifacts are gonna be trash, and the good looking ones will also end up like trash. Can you even picture having to farm for every character in the game? I mean, let's be honest, it's not even a competitive game, it's just a single player game. What would they lose if they made the drop rates a little better, or added a system that would help you get the specific artifact you need? Wanna know what's worse than getting absolutely fucked by the artifact system? The actual farming itself. This unending cycle of loading screen into run up the stairs, go to the key, activate said key, fight the enemies, and run to the Tree of Might. Like, who the f wants to do that over and over again for 10 years? Especially when their other game, Honkai Star Rail, doesn't make you go through any of that. Wasting time doesn't gain the company anything. If anything, the players lose interest from farming all this shit in the most tedious and boring way possible. By the way, you can save 3 seconds by pressing this hidden skip button. It ain't much, but it's something. I don't get why they couldn't just remove that sequence entirely. I guess they just want the players to suffer. Who even cares about the stupid camera pan? Oh, did I mention you have an energy system called resin in the game? To be able to get any drops, whether that be artifacts, boss drops, talent materials, weapon materials, whatever, you need that crescent moon looking thing. Fun fact, resin is capped at 160, which you actually get 180 per day. So if you're one of those crazy people who can't bear to see anything go to waste, you log into Genshin twice a day because of that. It's just unnecessary torture, to be honest. The crazy part is that it was actually a lot lower than that. 120 to be precise. Of course, increasing the cap made it so that logging in once per day felt less bad, but while you're at it, why not just increase it 20 more? Why do you hate us so much?
We're purposefully gonna make the limit 20 lower than you actually generate per day, because screw you!
I didn't lose any sleep over it, but that 20 extra resin, oh boy, some people are going crazy about it. That red key reminds me of a certain problem the game had. Oh, that's right, the stupid boss timer. 3 years later, you still have to leave the area for the boss to respawn. Is there like a technological limitation or something? Why are the developers so lazy? Especially when you consider the fact that they put that red key everywhere to respawn the enemies. Like, why not put it there as well? They're like,
we gotta make every mechanic in the game tedious and grindy. We don't want you to have fun.
it's like they're actively trying to make every mechanic in the game not fun. Their other game doesn't do that.
What's this, you f***ing piece of shit? What's this?
Like my excitement for a character goes down the drain when I realize that I have to farm so much in such a tedious manner. From their ascension materials, to their artifacts, to their talents, to everything. Like imagine having to deal with a schedule to farm in a video game. Getting a new character is literally just a burden when your account has like 2 teams of built characters. I skipped New Villette just because of that, just because I already had like 4 Hydro characters built and I didn't want to deal with the obnoxious and tedious grind that comes with a new character. It's completely counterintuitive. You want me to pull on a character, you don't want me to skip them just because of the grind.
Next optimization has made it easier to repeat domain challenges. Previously, travelers who tried to continue domain challenges would be sent to the entrance of the domain. This meant they would have to run all the way to the center to start the challenge. But after this update, travelers who choose to continue in a domain challenge will load right next to the area where you actually start fighting, which is amazing.
Amazing? Let me fix that for you. About damn time. Of course they decide to do this right when I'm making the video. Only took you 3 years to do this. They still make you walk towards the tree though. Still, I guess this is the most we can hope from them. You ungrateful little Holy shit, what are you doing in my house? Do you know how hard it is to make even the smallest change? Hundreds of thousands of documents have to be signed. The Way himself needs to get involved. They go out of their way to fix this shit for you, and you're still so ungrateful. Mother. If you hated the daily commissions before, you'll still probably hate them now. You can still help Elon Musk talk to the Hilichos for the 100th time, or you can also sweep the leaves for Groomer Albert, who's still stalking Barbara. Luckily you can change your commission locations so that you may freshen up your dailies a bit and jump on some mushrooms instead, or serve at a cafe. Events are still events, some are long, some are short, some have smaller rewards, some have big rewards, but over time we've noticed quite a big problem with how Hoyoverse handles these events, especially the large ones, because they not only remove the storylines behind them, they also remove the maps or the exclusive weapons you could have gotten with the event. Because FOMO. If you didn't have the opportunity to play Genshin at a certain time, you'll have missed out on all those stories and rewards, and even the exploration aspects of certain events. And this is their strategy to get you to play every patch, because they know daily commissions alone don't keep people hooked. They need something else, something that won't come back, something that is gone forever. And it's such a shame, because no one will get to experience these Klee events, I'd like to call them, because the dev team simply doesn't give a f***. I guess that's too much to expect from a multi-billion-dollar indie company though. This poses the question, is it better to join the game when it's finished, or when it has all these events going on? It's definitely the former, because these events aren't worth that much. Let's be honest now. New players won't give a damn since they already have hundreds upon hundreds of hours of content anyways. Better that than to wait 10 years for it, just to play some rip-off of Mario Party. Now this may seem like bland old history, but don't worry, these controversies drastically affected the future of Genshin. The first of which being Genshin's first anniversary. It was one of the biggest scams in gacha history. Because if you didn't know, Genshin on their anniversary decided that it would be a good idea to give everyone a total of 10 wishes. And because people expected a lot more, namely a 5-star selector, people were pissed. And MiHoYo tried to be all like, the real anniversary was the friendships we made along the way. On that fateful day, the casuals, the waifu players, the theory crafters, the furries even, united under one banner in the hopes of changing Genshin Impact's destiny for good.
Why the f*** are you animals?
We'll take that as a compliment.
I can't believe I got invited here to work together with these dummies.
What is it? Got a problem, you piece of shit, little bitch? These 4 great communities had one goal in mind: to overthrow MiHoYo's tyrannous rule in a way they knew best, the only way they knew.
I already told you idiots, the real anniversary.
And yes, I love Yakuza. And no, I am not gay. Anyways, as was shown in the video, that's basically all they did. And yes, the community review bombed not only Genshin, but literally every big game on the Google Play Store, including Google Classrooms, which is just like, why? One comment in particular did stand out to me. This one just makes me feel conflicted. I want to say it's based, but it's really not. Funnily enough, it's sandwiched between 2 generic hate comments. Anyways, their response is as follows.
Here's a free skin and 10 extra wishes, guys. Now shut up and be happy.
And that is literally all it took to quell the fires of the community.
MiHoYo is so generous. You should be grateful instead of complaining.
I mean, by all means, continue praising them for that 1 extra Shin Yan you got off that temple. However, even now there's this unending cycle of old players already accepting the fact that the anniversary rewards are gonna be trash, and then every year you have new players complaining about how trash the anniversary rewards are once again. Things might have been different if people hadn't given up immediately after. Since the middle child gets treated like this, I wonder how the youngest sibling will get treated.
Every Trailblazer who has unlocked the mail feature shall receive, via mail, 1 limited 5-star character doctor ratio. That is to say, me.
No, they did not just do that. They did not just indirectly incite a community war. It's not even the anniversary, it's just the 1.6 update. The bar has been set and they know that they will never be able to reach it, especially after we'll probably get a 5-star selector in the anniversary of Honkai Star Rail. I mean, just look at it, it's already in the game. I'd say they're pretty In fact, the apocalypse has already started. I cannot imagine the community in the following weeks, especially on Google Classrooms.
Hey, I mean, they gave away Aloy before. They gave away Aloy. Aloy's pretty good.
And the fact that he's named Dr. Ratio makes it all the worse. Sorry, I got a bit sidetracked. And secondly, we have the endgame drama. As you may already know, the only endgame in the game right now is the Spiral Abyss, a dungeon where you can get 600 Primo Gems for clearing the challenges every 2 weeks in 15 minutes, depending on your gear of course. So obviously people would want more, you know, because people would probably like to do something with their built characters, you know, the ones they've wasted hundreds of hours of artifact farming for, besides just killing every hilichurl and collecting every piece of mint they can find in the open world, you know. No one would actually do that, right? And yet, the people at Hoyoverse decided it would be a good idea to get interviewed by IGN and said this.
If we design another type of permanent endgame that is similar to the Spiral Abyss, it might end up creating excessive anxiety! What?
What do you mean I have to fight more than 5 hilichurls? That's so scary. I don't know if I'll be able to do this any longer.
Bro, who even comes up with this shit? This upset a lot of people, including me. Maybe that's because the game is actually centered around combat.
No, it isn't. I play this game.
Shut up, Peter. Now let's start from the top. Exploration, events, daily commissions, Primo Gems to get characters with. To then do what? Do what? To literally kill one hilichurl in the middle of nowhere? Y'all probably think I hate hilichurls by now. With such a cool elemental combat system, it's just contradictory to have the
card game as a bigger focus than your actual combat. Why would anyone waste their time playing a trash card game within an open world game like Genshin? I mean, there was Gwent in Witcher 3, but that was at least fun.
Yeah, I know fun is a subjective word, but as a Legends of Runeterra player, I can assure you that this card game is hot garbage. Okay, it's not that bad. It lacks a lot of depth, and it's just slow and boring. Especially with all those transitions that you have to sit through to actually play the game.
The game itself is just
roll the dice and see what you get. I'm sorry for the people that love this game. No, this is not what you want to hear, but
if I want to play a card game,
I'd play a game dedicated to it, like Legends of Runeterra. Hey Riot, I was wondering if I could get sponsors. As I was saying, no more endgame means that you'll be stuck with the Abyss for another, I don't know, 5 years before they finally decide to get off their ass and add something new. If you've looked at the characters for more than 5 seconds, you will have realized which audience they cater to.
Is that a guy? It's a fucking guy!
Of course, that doesn't mean the game is only for boys. In fact, girls make up a significant portion of the player base. They are here to bear witness to the degenerate fantasy world of the male mind. But for the 2 girls that are watching this video, just a heads up, try not to get your boyfriend too invested in Genshin. Otherwise, he may start to have unrealistic expectations and leave you for his imaginary gun. For a lot of people, the characters are the main selling point of the game. In general, I'd say they look great, which is to be expected when your entire monetization system is built around them. Of course, I don't know who the little ones cater to besides,
The TT fight, man!
Oh, hell no, man.
Man, I don't want to go to jail.
You won't because you're already here. On the topic of thighs, there's no single female character that doesn't have them exposed or is wearing skin-tight leggings. Even the kids. Hoyoverse has this weird tendency to add these neck collars to all of their characters. Must be some weird fetish. What is there, some unexplained dress code of Tibet? And it's not like I'm against that, I just find it lazy design, to be honest. But the Kumers, I know. But just imagine if they gave the Raiden Shogun an actual elegant design that isn't your typical purple-haired anime girl. Her initially being this indifferent and cold-hearted character, that type of design just makes you take it all less seriously. Though what can I say? They've definitely perfected the formula. Thighs, extra thick. Jiggly breasts, extra milk. Neck collars, extra thick. I mean, if it sells, it sells. Can't argue with that. Aside from that, there's still no child boy in the game for some reason. I don't think I want to know why exactly that is though. Other than that, the characters have many unique abilities that I can't discuss in this video because otherwise it would be 2 hours long.
Are you winning, son?
Character balancing shouldn't be an issue in single-player games, right? Wrong. For Hoyoverse, everything is a problem. They see it as an inconvenience. If a character is released, that's the state they will be in for the entire game. They refuse to balance any characters if they're too weak or too strong, they don't care. Though the latter would get quite a lot of people upset, especially if they invested in them. Even if they're borderline unplayable, and even bugs don't matter to them. Unless it's a positive bug. Which poses a problem, especially when the early 4 stars are broken beyond belief. And their quote-unquote solution was to release worse characters.
releasing trash after trash. Like, who the hell would want to use Dory? If anything, it's a band-aid solution, as it only pushes us to use the broken 4 stars the game released with, limiting the character choice more than anything.
5 stars on the other hand have gotten power crept. However, even this is very limited, as Hoyoverse nowadays prefers to keep them in line with many of the older 5 stars. So I don't expect there to be a new level of broken anytime soon. And despite player feedback to buff bad characters, they didn't listen to all but one of these cases. And that is Zhongli. Why? Because they got f***ing sued. What? Yes, you heard me correctly. They literally need to be sued to be incentivized to balance a character. You know, you League of Legends players should be really grateful to Riot, even if their balancing is absolute garbage. Imagine having to sue them for every character that needs to be nerfed. As for why they sued, well, they were furious when their husbando wasn't performing as well as expected. Surprisingly, 3 years after the buff, small content creators are still debating about him.
Do you even know what meta stands for?
It stands for something?
Damn, alright, I got my answer. Yeah, most efficient tactic available.
I know throughout this video I have been very harsh, and I know I may sound like a broken record saying this, but the game has already been out for 3 long years, and they know what the problems are. They just don't care about fixing them. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, no? That's what the money says. But at the end of the day, love it or hate it, despite everything, Genshin Impact is a good game, which is why it's still earning millions on each banner. There's something for everyone, whether that be exploring, getting new characters, progressing through the story, playing minigames, or even art. For those of you that are into that, I guess. There's 3 years of community effort.
I need to erase this from my mind.
I bet some of you are like this guy and can just see through the blur, so enjoy. However, I think we've all learned today that the game has so much potential, so much so that it could be one of the best games of all time. Fundamentally, it's there. Should you give the game a try? Absolutely. It is worth playing even if you don't like the gacha or the anime aspect. Why? Because it's free from start to finish, so you've got nothing to lose. Besides your soul, and who knows, this may become your favorite game yet, though I do not recommend logging in every day for commissions and presents. That's the stuff that really took me out of the game. It made the game feel like nothing more than a chore at that point. I'd say do them when you actually feel like it. Turns out those primo gems and artifacts aren't worth your sanity. Damn, doing that for 1 year really messed me up. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please leave a like below and subscribe for more, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Adios! Now, to spoil the entire game because I can. Paimon is a reference to the evil